Hi, this is John Primus again from VMworld 2010, and this time I am so lucky to be joined by Tyler Rohr, who is the founder and COO of Liquidware Labs.
Good to be here, John. Thanks for having me today.
Not a problem. And what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about VDI, or desktop virtualization. And we understand you guys do a little bit of stuff in that space.
Yeah, we're looking to be relevant and contribute in that space. So basically what we came up with was, in observing the market, and it wasn't unlike the original observation of the server market, we wanted to build a solution stack that was relevant, kind of before, during, and after customers started exploring this stuff. And so we said, okay, what would we have to build for a before use case? And so we kind of quantified that as an assessment tool, right? I want to go into an organization, lift up the hood, take a look at the applications and the desktops and the user activity, the environmental limits like their storage, their network, what they were doing with any cloud services so far, and to take those measurements and to come up with something that's a logical design. Working with organizations like yourself to come up with a logical design that we could go forward and test. And then you kind of enter the during phase. And the during phase is interesting because a lot of the times you want to actually be able to preserve the settings and the user data that a user had in the old way of doing desktop and perhaps move it over to the new way of doing desktop and prove that it's faster or better or cheaper or whatever ER acronym you want to accomplish. But then there's an after state, and the after state's kind of what this whole show is about, which is, at the end of the day, I want to have a flexible or agile or lower TCO or higher available system. I want my users to be more productive than they were in the old thing that I used to use. And so in that use case, we make a monitoring solution that looks at all the different moving parts in what makes up a desktop, or desktop 2.0.
So that's really good. And where... as you're speaking to customers, I'm assuming you're getting a lot of discussions with customers about their deployments. Either they're in deployment or they're about to deploy. What are some of the roadblocks that you have seen from an adoption point of view, or from a customer that's started to deploy and then stalled?
It's interesting, I think when we launched the company, we thought that the world was going to go something like everyone will do an assessment, then everyone will design something, then everyone will deploy it, and the world will be, a happy place. What we found out, though, is that a lot of companies, got about, I don't want to say halfway across the stream. They started dipping a toe in the stream and realized this stuff wasn't easy. Some of the bottlenecks we see are just the conception that things don't break linearly when you talk about VDI, meaning that what breaks at 50 users is not just 10 times worse, at 500 users, it's, 500,000 times worse. And that's things like I/O or just availability of applications or the way I/O and network, kind of commingle. So I would say that that's kind of one of the first things that big companies or companies that start to go big in this realize is, things are real different when you get up at, kind of the 500 seats and above range. And so we learn something every day. I mean, the interesting thing that I tell, customers and the partners we work with is that we're all writing the book. I mean, this show here, 2010 VMworld, the book's being written, and the people that are winning awards and the booths that are on fire and, the organizations that are putting the value prop around all the different moving parts that you've got up here behind you, that's the book being written. It's a fun part of the market to be contributing to.
Yeah, and I also understand that you've made some pretty significant announcements here at VMworld to, again, further drive the market and help customers make a decision, and then once they make that decision, feel comfortable that they're going down the right path and they're on the right journey.
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of different platforms. I mean, you could look at things from the storage platforms, the storage software platforms, the hardware, the host platforms, the networking gear, all the way up to the hypervisors, the connection brokers, and all the application delivery stuff that's out there. And so we're pretty proud this week to have made, since we're here at VMworld, some pretty significant announcements with VMware. The first of which is we've kind of armed their global PSO organization, their SEs, and their chosen channel partners with their ability to use our software to go out and do desktop assessments for organizations that are interested in exploring this stuff. That was kind of number one. And then number two is we have a pretty interesting profile and migration solution that's stepping up to the plate to also assist that platform, the VMware View platform, in getting customers elegantly from where they are today, which is typically an XP desktop, into that kind of desktop 2.0 architecture, which might be View plus Zimbra. I don't know. We'll have to see. I was pretty impressed by some of the announcements they came out with, and pretty interesting glimpse into where they think this movie goes. So it's fun.
It's definitely been quite a show, and there's been a lot of good activity from a lot of the booths, and There's been a lot of excitement from, I think, the attendees.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I haven't been staying in touch with is, did somebody buy 3PAR yet? I know that was going back and forth. Has anyone won that arm wrestle?
I'm not sure. I think they have until the end of the day to make a counter offer.
We'll give them until 5 o'clock. You know, we'll give them until 5 o'clock.
I know that every time I walk past a 3PAR booth, I see them just, smiling and drinking and planning their next purchase.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. That's great. No, it's been a great show. I mean, this is it was the first year I've been coming since about 2005, I guess, and so this is the first time I ever got to go see a keynote. I forced myself to go watch it. I was impressed. I think the message, that this is the way, this collectively is the way that IT, is going to look in the next couple of years is something that is pretty impressive. It's a kind of a spiritual VMworld this year for me.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here on the video blog. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to you helping drive the market and continue to enhance your products to get folks on the way and on the journey.
See what we can do.
All right.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, and we'll be back with another video blog post.